Well, hello there ladies and gents, and welcome along to this quick and dirty 20-minute test ride on the Triumph Tiger 1200 GT Pro, here as part of the SW-Motech Open Day in Rauschenberg, the place where all the SW-Motech magic happens. A bunch of manufacturers here giving out test rides, and I thought I'd avail myself of a couple, so if you haven't already seen them, check out the Triumph Speed Triple RS. Unfortunately that one's a bit crap because the camera was really wonky, but it sounds nice, so I put it together anyway. Also, as well as that, there's the Ducati Desert X, which was a lot of fun, and now I'm excited to see just how the Tiger 1200 stacks up against it, although obviously they're very different machines, but still, if you're in the market for something a little bit bigger, and this is definitely a little bit bigger. A lot of tank going on here, a lot of gubbins going on there. So far I have to say I prefer the Desert X in terms of lithe, sporty looking athleticism. But maybe if you want to munch more miles, then the Triumph Tiger 1200 is something you might be thinking about. And I've gone for the GT model. I could have had the Rally. Do like the look of the Rally. Do like the look of do like the idea of the big wheels, the extra suspension. But I wanted also to get that more flickable, smaller front on this one. But let's see how we go. As we come out of the village, give it some pasty. Lovely quick shifter, very typically Triumph. Tiny little bit of a buzz coming through the seat, but what do we care? Hasn't got the same induction roar that the Speed Triple has, despite, as far as I know, having the same engine, but there must be some different tweakage with the intake box and tune of the engine as well. Right, first proper little twisty section, see how we get on. Tiny bit of jerkiness on the throttling there, coming back on the gas once you've let off for the bend. Quick shifter is lovely though. Yeah, very buzzy under the seat, almost as buzzy as the Ducati, I would say. Really expected the Triple to be smoother on this. Didn't get that buzz on the Speed Triple. A fair bit of vibes coming through the bars as well. That's not really what you want on a long distance machine. That's adjustable screen, which means I can get rid of some of those turbulence vibrations that were drumming on my helmet there. Yeah, great turning circle. The quick shifter's really nice, but it is a little bit slow. There's that almost like an automatic, unless maybe, I don't know, has this got some kind of DCT? I apologise for the complete lack of any spec knowledge or technical knowledge. Literally just booked my name in for a couple of bikes that I fancied, thought we'd have a quick dirty blast, so I'm afraid you'd have to look elsewhere for specs and technical stuff. Oh, that screen is very noisy. Yeah, it's just roary on the low setting and buffety on the high setting. I think I'm just not made for bikes with screens. At 6'3½", Bonce is just too high up for any of these screens to do me any real good. Good stoppers. Definitely a little bit more wayward, a little bit more wallowy at the front than the Desert X was. Slightly more of a tendency to run wide, which is very surprising considering this one has the smaller front wheel and the Desert X has got the big one. But not a huge difference. And I have got it in road at the moment. I haven't messed with the settings too much. That maybe for this next section, why don't we try wash into there, wash into there, go for some sport. Right, there we go, we're in sport mode now. See if the suspension tightens up at all. I don't know if there's actually even an option for the suspension, or if it's just throttling and engine performance that changes with that. Although, to be completely honest, I don't know if I'm good enough of a rider to really notice the difference that much, although it does seem pretty firm. proper bendy bit. Yeah, I think it has done something to tighten up the front a little bit. A bit of dive at the front, but on the long travel of these things, it's not a huge surprise. Tiny little bit of a jerk coming back onto the throttle. In the sport mode, oh, I've gone into first gear there, what a plonker. Scrubbed off way too much speed again. Although the €1,000 excess makes it a little bit nerve-wracking to be stonking somebody else's bike into hairpins when you've only just got on for the first time ever. Toes on the floor, that was a bit of a shock. Didn't expect to be getting toes on the floor first 20 minutes on a venturer like this. Yeah, it definitely feels sharper in the sport mode. I don't know whether I'm just imagining that because of the placebo effect. Or maybe I've just gotten used to it. Either way, chuck this thing in. You can also keep nudging the mode button when you try and autistically, OCD wise, cancel the indicator. What a road though, this is brilliant. I wish my test rides at home were like this. Straight out the front door and onto stuff like that. That is special. And the Insta360 has switched itself off. I think the battery's dead. That's a real shame. "5 minutes wasted with camera faff. The bane of a YouTube creator, eh? A fair bit of induction roar comes out of the airbox there, but you do get a little bit of bark from the thing. And it is plenty sharp enough to bung around, but I would still say it's about 80% as sharp as the Desert X felt. It's certainly no slouch, and it definitely doesn't feel heavy or bulky or cumbersome in any way whatsoever. And as a result of, I think the Likeable Rider told me that they shaved 30 kilos off between this bike and the one that went before it. I mean, that was a bit of a heifer, but 30 kilos is a real chunk of stuff to get rid of on a machine. I don't need to go quite as low on the speed this time as I have in all the others. Boy, a horrible jerk coming out of neutral throttle there from second gear out of the bends. That's the sport mode throttling for you, sadly a little bit more abrupt. You have to be very finessed right around that, maybe even feather a bit of clutch in, something I don't have to do on my Honda CB1000R. The stoppers are pretty good enough. Slightly more of a harsh bite at the beginning than the Desert X had, but a little bit more wooden after that, but still plenty good enough to get the speed scrubbed off. But sadly, I'm sorry to say that sadly just not quite as engaging as the Desert X was. This is a lot of fun, I do enjoy it, but I think maybe the mind would want this bike, but the heart would definitely want the Ducati. And if the mind won over, it would definitely want this with a much shorter screen, because the noise is horrible. And those buttons are quite annoying. I keep on going to cancel the indicator because I'm a bit over the top with that stuff. And getting the mode button instead. Well, not the mode button, but the settings button. I don't really need to change the Bluetooth when I'm barreling out of a bend, really. This thing has got buckets of torque though. 4th gear there. Barreling out of an easy bend, and it just pushes through effortlessly. Effortlessly. A lot more effortlessly than I can say the word effortlessly, apparently. Is that jerky roll back on again? Yeah, once you get up into the higher revs, that bark comes back. See, if you're a bit finessed, you can actually gently dress the power back on, avoiding the jerk. That was in 1st gear coming back on the power there. Managed to smooth it out just by being a bit more delicate with that right hand. Yeah, very enjoyable bike to ride, but a little bit softer edged, a tiny little bit more wallowy, a tiny little bit more bouncy than the Ducati Desert X was. Well, I suppose you could argue they're very different bikes. One is a Dakar wannabe, the other one is a long-distance adventurer. A long-distance adventurer, which is still far more sporty and live than it really deserves to be, in my opinion. In the days when adventurers meant big, wallowy, soft armchairs really are a thing of the past, aren't they? With the things that the manufacturers do to these bikes now, with incredible suspension, amazingly responsive engines. I mean, the triple in this is an absolute peach, just lovely. It was a lot more razory and a lot more go-y and a lot more responsive in the Speed Triple, but in this bigger, heavier lump, it's still definitely no slouch. It's just a real shame that I can't hear it. It's also very possible, isn't it, that the reason I'm not getting that induction roar is because there's too much wind roar from the screen. Yeah, so all in all, very impressed, but I don't think it's the one for me, guys. I would happily jump on one and smash it around on a longer tour for a week or two, but I don't think it'd be the one I'd want to own. The heart wants what the heart wants. As patriotic as I tried to be, I think the heart wants an Italian. Muy bellissima! Oh, traffic. Yeah, but what else very quickly? Yep, we've got the electric suspension, the seat's pretty comfy, nice and wide, no weird ridges on the edge, fairly soft. I reckon you could sit on that for a good long time. A little bit of backward forwards movement, sideways is nice and easy, adjustable screen. Yeah, bish bash bosh, Tiger innit? Right, there we go. So as I have to wrestle with the crowds to get back and give it back, trying to do the no foot down challenge and not knock anybody over with the mirrors, that brings me to the end of my quick and dirty little 20-minute test ride on the Triumph Tiger 1200. Oh, Jesus, a lot of T's in there. No toe tapping at the end of the test ride of the Triumph Tiger 1200. Yeah, thank you so very much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed this little video. Sorry about the camera cock up in the middle. Should always know to change the battery before I start. If you enjoyed this little dirty test ride, give it a dirty thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a filthy thumbs down. Either way, get yourself over to the channel, get yourself subscribed, leave me a comment below if you've got anything to say, and I'll do my best to get back to you. Otherwise, tune in to the other test rides that I did at this little event here at the SW-Motech Open House, and I'll see you next time. Ta-ra! For that, no feet down the whole time. I should be a professional. A professional.